Okay, so I wanted to talk about US purity culture today. So, in the United States, a revival of purity culture swept through the US in the 1990s, especially in Christian evangelical circles. It actually started brewing in the 70s, but it really came to prominence in the 90s. And this revival pushed abstinence before marriage with like flashy tools like purity rings and pledges and creepy purity balls. But it's not just about intimacy. It's a ruthless system of control that slams women with shame while letting men off the hook, all to prop up an outdated patriarchal power structure. Now, purity culture wrecks lives with guilt, anxiety, and warped self image. It chains women to male dominance and cages children with prisons of unattainable expectations. Amongst conservative evangelicals today, you can see many forms of purity culture, like teens signing contracts to stay pure, girls decked out in white gowns at daddy daughter dances, vowing virginity until some guy comes along and claims it. But purity culture was born in evangelical circles and it exploded via movements like True Love Waits, hammering home that premarital sex equals moral failure. It polices bodies through modesty rules and fear tactics, turning natural desires into grave offenses that threaten the very fabric of society. The result is lifelong trauma, from sexual shame to mental health crises, and it hits women the hardest. Purity culture isn't just innocent advice, it's social engineering. It constructs deviance around sex using rituals like abstinence balls to surveil kids, especially girls, breeding deep levels of guilt. Deviate, and you may lose social status, get ostracized, or lose privilege. With LGBTQ plus folks and people of color hit extra hard by these measures. This enforces community norms brutally, linking worth to purity and sidelining anyone who doesn't fit the straight, white, evangelical mode. Survivors may battle lifelong anxiety, body dysmorphia, and broken relationships, and the system is engineered to ensure it. Purity culture is, at its base, just patriarchy in action. Women are the temptresses responsible for men's uncontrollable urges. They are the ones who must cover up, suppress their desires, or be labeled as the sinner. Men, on the other hand, operate under a different set of rules. Boys will be boys is repeated to youngsters, and this expectation of consequence free actions carries into adulthood as their lust is excused as biology, positioning them as natural leaders. Women's value, however, is tied to virginity, a commodity handed from father to husband. A woman's actions face far greater censure from childhood, each misstep facing the full weight of its consequences. And often they are forced to shoulder responsibility for the actions of others as well. This double standard crushes female autonomy, demanding sacrifice for male led families and churches. It starts with responsibilities. Girls police their bodies to protect boys, while boys get a pass on corn or hookups. Purity balls are ownership rituals. Dads guard their daughters' purity like property, prepping them for wifely submission. Abstinence education doubles down on these roles, framing men as aggressors, women as passive prizes, baking inequality into marriages in the very system. Non binary or queer folks are erased under these ideas. They threaten the rigid roles that must remain intact in order to serve the system. Toxic expectations fuel gender based violence, with pure women shamed into silence and men handed a sense of entitlement. It thrives in capitalist patriarchy, selling books, rings, and conferences that profit off of fear of physical and cultural contamination. Even online, YouTube peddles it as heteronormative lifestyles, as cultural salvation. But cracks show. Survivors speak out, exposing the hypocrisy. Purity culture is evolving along with the evangelical right, but its patriarchal roots run deep. We need to understand both the history and trajectory of purity culture and its influence on American society in order to break free of its hold. Question the shame. Real purity is purity of intent, born of empathy. Consent, equality, and so forth means ditching social control. America deserves better than this, and so does the next generation.